Okay, everybody. I had a few people that asked me how does the 2021 NBA play-in and playoffs work this season. So I'm going to try to do a couple visuals to try to explain what I know about how they're doing the playoffs and the play-in tournament this season. So let's start off with, I got a board here. So see if you can see this right here. So the end of the regular season standings, choose a conference, East or West. It's going to obviously apply to both. So if you're looking at, let's say you go to ESPN.com and you see the standings of the either conference, it's going to have like a 1 through 6, and then it's going to have a line here, 7 and 8, and then another line. I've added some asterisks and some wording here, but if you're noticing the lines, it's because what this means is by the end of the regular season, that 1 through 6, whoever's 1 through 6, they're going to be locked in for those positions for the playoffs after the end of the regular season. 7th through 10th, that's when we get into the play-in seeding. Obviously, it's going to be involving the teams that are at the end of the regular season ranked 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10. Like I said, this could change here after the play-in tournament as far as who's ranked where when it comes to 7th and 8th. And then obviously 11th through 15th, as usual, they're out of the playoffs, so there's no more season there. The end of the regular season is the end of their season entirely for 2021. So let's go back here to the middle. Everything here with the asterisk 7th through 8th. This is the play-in seeding. This is where the play-in tournament starts here. And then this is where it gets a little tricky for some people to understand. So I try to explain it here. So let me switch sides. So we're talking play-in tournament right here. So the play-in tournament, it's a single elimination games here. I think it's supposed to start... I should have looked it up. I think May 18th through the 21st or May 19th through the 22nd. I think the playoffs start the 22nd. So 18th through the 21st makes sense, I guess. It's only supposed to be a few days, but in any sense, it's going to be 2 rounds for both conferences. So like I said, you're just choosing a conference, so just focus on one conference when I'm explaining this. There's going to be 2 round 1 games. Round 1, and I want to hit and try to specify and clarify what how to differentiate between the 2 games for the same round for each conference. So choose a conference. Round 1, there's going to be an upper tier, and the upper tier is going to be the 7th versus 8th. And with the 7 versus 8, one of those teams is guaranteed to obviously be the 7th seed. And the other team is going to possibly be playing for, or they will be playing for the 8th seed. And they could be that 8th seed when it comes to the end of the tournament for the playoffs, or they have the possibility of being out of the playoffs completely. So that's for the 7 and 8, the upper tier. Now the lower tier here is going to be the 9 versus 10 seed. And obviously the loser of that, there's going to be a guaranteed loser that's going to be out of the play-in for round 2 and out of the playoffs, obviously. So their season ends. Whoever loses this game, their season ends right after that. Whoever wins this game is going to advance to round 2 and have a chance of playing for the 8th spot. Now, granted, if they lose that, they could be out of the playoffs as well. So, like I said, this is round 1. There's an upper tier, 7 versus 8, a lower tier, 9 versus 10. So let's go to round 2 here. Upper tier loser is who's up top for the second round versus the lower tier winner. So whoever wins this game in the single elimination game is going to be the 8th seed. So like I said, winner here is going to be the 7th seed, and the winner here is going to be the 8th seed. So I kind of wrote that out here a little bit. So let me go back to this side. So playoff seeding, post play-in, so 1 through 6, like we said right here, they're already locked in. So that's actually just going to carry right over to here. So 1 through 6, stays the same. And 7 to 8, I put some asterisks there. Upper tier round 1 winner, like I said previously. And for the 8th spot, round 2 winner, these are based off the play-in. So that's how they backfill the 1 through 8, and then it goes back into the traditional sense as far as we know. Sorry about this board. It's an old board, but I figured I'd use it to explain this. So yeah, for the conference playoffs, like I said, pick a conference. It's back to normal. Should be a best of 7 where you see the 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5, 3 versus 6, and 2 versus 7 based off everything that happened after the play-in. So let me give you a quick example. I'm going to use the Western Conference as of the time of this video. The current standings, obviously that could change because there's still a handful of games left to be played in the regular season here. But yeah, let me go with the Western Conference. Right now, the Trailblazers are 7th. The Memphis Grizzlies are 8th, so I'm going to put that there. And the Golden State Warriors are 9th. And the San Antonio Spurs are 10th. So let me try to visually explain what's going to happen. So these 4 teams, 7th through 10th seed in the West, they're going to be playing in the play-in tournament. Now, round 1 and round 1. Upper tier, lower tier, right here. So upper tier, round 1 is going to be 7th seed versus the 8th seed. Sorry about that. So as of right now, the date of this video, if it was not to change, the Blazers would, I'm assuming, have the home court advantage in this because they're 7th versus the 8th seed Grizzlies in a single game elimination. And then the Warriors are playing the Spurs also in round 1. So the winner of this team becomes, of this game, single elimination game, becomes the 7th seed officially, and the loser has a chance to play for the 8th seed. And the winner of this, their prize is to play in the second round for the 8th seed overall position going into the playoffs. And the loser is going home. They're going fishing. So if you're in the lower tier here for either conference, like I said, we're doing the Western Conference. So if you're the Warriors or the Spurs at the moment, your prize for round 1 is to play in round 2, and your prize in round 2 is the 8th spot. So the highest they can go is 8th, and obviously the lowest is they're going to get kicked out. And then the same here, the lowest that the upper tier can go is getting kicked out, whereas the winner of the first round is going to be the 7th, and the loser can possibly be 8th. So we could still see the possibility of 7th and 8th being in the playoffs, and both the 9th and 10th being out of the playoffs, or a combination of 1 and 1. But we can't see the 9th and 10th. We can't see both of these in the playoffs because remember, they're playing to get to 8th. So, as of right now, if they're 7th and 10th, they can't be, if they're 9th and 10th, they can't be 7th and 8th. They can only be one of them being 8th and the other one completely out. So yeah, let's go with round 1 upper tier. So let's just say in a scenario, the underdog wins in all of these matchups here. So both rounds, the underdog's going to win here. So round 1, single game elimination. Blazers have home court against the Memphis Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, they win game 1. They win round 1 upper tier. So they are now officially the 7th seed going into the playoffs. So they win 1 game out of the play-in tournament, and that's enough for them. The Blazers are going to advance to the second round automatically with that loss for a chance to play for 8th spot overall in the playoffs. And so let's go to the same round 1, but to the lower tier, 9th versus 10th. The Golden State Warriors have home court against the San Antonio Spurs. So let's say the underdog wins again. They knock out the Warriors. Sorry, Hugh, but the Warriors are gone fishing. They are hoping for Klay to return, and they're not playing this year in the playoffs, and their season is done. So now the 10th seed Spurs are playing for 8th in round 2 against the Blazers. And once again, I'm just going to assume the underdog wins here. So the Blazers, let's say they get knocked out in this scenario, and the San Antonio Spurs become the 8th seed. So then when the play-in tournament ends for the West, you have Memphis Grizzlies at 7th and the San Antonio Spurs at 8th. So that would conclude the standings, and obviously that ends the play-in tournament. So yeah, just to show you in a scenario where a team that is 10th could get all the way to 8th, or a team that is currently in 8th at the end of the regular season can get into the 7th seed. So yeah, that was just an example. Like I said, things could still happen. There's still games to be played, and some of these teams might move out of the play-in tournament either due to getting 6 and up. So anybody who's in 6th place or up for either conference, they don't have to worry about the play-in tournament. They get extra rest. Anybody who's under 10th seed in either conference, they're done. They're going fishing. They could get plenty of rest for next season. And yeah, just focus on 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th seeds there at the end of the regular season to determine who is the overall 7th, 8th seeds for the playoffs. So yeah, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're checking this out because you were interested in seeing how this is explained, how this is working for the 2021 NBA playoffs this season, yeah, check out our video and please give us a subscribe. Subscribe to our channel and check out, we do like shoes. We're primarily an NBA podcast, so that's why I had the idea of doing this, because I had some friends that asked and we haven't covered that yet. And yeah, we also do debates. We do PPFs, which seem to be one of our popular videos, where we take an individual player and we break them down past, present, and future as far as what they've accomplished, where they're at now if you're just now hearing about them, and then what we project them to be in the future as far as staying with their team, if they're a Hall of Fame candidate, or if they change teams, they win championships. Scenarios like that. Once again, that's Kish YZ, Kish space YZ. You can also follow us on Instagram and Twitter under KishYZ, KISH_YZ, and find our podcast on Anchor.fm and Spotify under KishYZ, KISH space YZ. And like I said, this has been the play-in tournament, so I'm just going to end it with this board one more time so you can kind of get another quick look. If you want to pause the video, you're more than welcome to. Sorry about the dirtiness of this board. It is a used board, but yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And thanks for watching, everybody. Peace and love.